best Virgin Mobile Cup race I've ever seen. And thank heavens it's because of the Australians. Yeah, it was a great manoeuvre from Billy McConnell. Billy McConnell is the race winner. Whoa, big
Billy
one there.
McConnell sideways out chicane.
Away. Straight through the gate crasher that he is, Billy McConnell. Billy McConnell. Oh, he seems to be able to do just about anything with that motorcycle. So Billy McConnell, the Australian, they come under orders then. The Virgin Mobile Cup about to get underway, and it is slippery out there. Oh, and the pole bike has stopped. Did anybody get a jump start? It is quite possible, but the pole position man has gone absolutely backwards. Sean Murphy on bike 48 was the pole bike, and he is already one down right in the middle of Paddock Hill Bend. He holds onto his helmet. Lucky he was at the back. So one down, and I think we're going to get a few more in the course of this race. Yes, kick sand in the face of the possibilities. Down from Druids and down towards Graham Hill, another slippery tyre. When you go onto the left-hand side of the front end, this is where you can lose it so easily at this part of the course. Asking for the power out on the white lines. I wouldn't want to be out there. It's a battle of the brave. So the youngest man in this race, 16 years old. The oldest man in this race, 22 years old. All of them pretty inexperienced. The whole object of the exercise is to build up to the big bike. Can you race a superbike? Well, if you win this series, you can. Over the line for the first time. Into Paddock Hill Bend. Dropping down Halewood Hill, up towards Druids now. Leading is number 70, and that is Tom Grant. Tom Grant is a 17-year-old from Shipton Thorpe near York.
You know, Tom Grant, he had won a couple of races last year, and he's always been there or thereabouts. But this year, the rub in the Virgin R6 Cup is that he really is one of the boys to watch. He, of course, qualified in third and really put up a good performance. And it looks like he's running away with this at the moment. Well, as far as you can in the R6 Cup, of course, on a slightly damp track in the cold.
Well, Matt Whitman from Swindon is behind him, the 19-year-old. I can tell you now, I thought I recognised who it was who fell off to start with. It was the Flitting Motorcycles entry, of course. Steve Linzell, who we know ever so well, is his dad, Ollie Linzell. It was the 19-year-old. He's a student, and, well, those that have followed this on Sky Sports for some time will know about Steve Linzell and his performances on motorcycles. It was his son who dumped it at turn one, or the entry to turn one, on lap one. Not quite the start he expected, Tony.
Nah, Steve was saying this morning that Ollie's head was a bit tight and he was a bit... He wasn't in the groove, I think, was the actual words that we used, and well, maybe that was for the best that he tipped out quite so early.
Oh, out of the seat we go, and losing a bit of momentum. Does that give 51 a chance to get up the inside? It certainly does. Matt Whitman goes up the inside, and that was a mistake by your race leader. He got the rear end of that bike spinning, and Whitman made him pay for it. We're on clearways now, and I can tell you, remarkably, no jump start. So it was just a case of the poleman, Sean Murphy, absolutely making a complete pig's ear of the start from pole. So the pole bike going backwards, not because everyone else jumped it was because he completely missed it.
That was astonishing, because Tom Grant did look like he had a jump start by about 1 or 2 seconds, didn't he?
Well, no jump starts, it says on my monitor, and I would never argue with our race director.
Now, Matt Whitman, who's leading this race at the moment, he did have a tumble yesterday in qualifying. Right at the end of the session, he'd gone through with an unblotted copybook, then fell off at Surtees in the very last seconds, and he does have a bit of a reputation as being something of a crasher, so let's hope he can keep it on 2 wheels.
Yeah, that's always a bit of a problem, of course, but let's take another look at this. That was the jump start, I think, that we thought was a jump start that wasn't, and I'm sure everyone looked at that bit of footage once and once again.
Sean Douglas looked like he really wanted to find the back of the pack very quickly.
Well, what I wanted to say to you, actually, when you were talking about jump starts and the like, Sam Bishop, the Norwich rider, 19-year-old, when he was testing at Snetterton, they call him 5 Yard now, because that's as far as he got before he fell off in pit lane on his first ride of the Virgin Mobile bike. So 5 Yard Bishop he's known as. Remember that name. He's actually in third place on bike 23, so keep an eye out for him. I'll tell you what, whenever I watch Virgin Mobile Cup, I always think their style belies their experience or their age.
this is such a good breeding ground for future talent in the UK, and full credit goes to Rob Mack and everybody who works on it, because the R6s are a proper little race bike this year. They're absolutely tuned in. You see Big Burley there. Yeah, he doesn't look too impressed, does he? Come on, get off. No, several looks. He looks like that when you own Matenna, in the dark.
Well, the thing is, at this time of the race, of course, it might cost him a lot more money yet, so he's a bit pensive, because if they chuck a few of these up the road, he has to pay for them. Poor old Robert. 6. Leon Hunt has just come through on the Kelly Racing bike, so I think that was Leon. In fact, on the Adams Charterhouse bike. Oh, I tell you what, getting a bit.
Took him straight back in there for third. As they're going into Druids, it's all over the place, and it's a bit choppy. And
well, that's what it's all about when you ride a road bike. You can bank the thing in and all the rest of it. Now, you say this is like a full race bike. Well, that's coming from a road rider, of course.
Well, I'm saying it's been designed to be a proper race bike this year.
Yeah, but it's not. It's a road bike.
Well, it's a road bike, yeah, but it's got all the potential there to win the World Supersport Championship at Yamaha, which is what they wanted to do.
Yeah, if you do a full factory job on it, of course.
All right, okay. We're going to argue about this all day, aren't we?
We're on road tyres with a standard road bike. Put this in a World Supersports race, and they'll be reversing through the grid backwards.
But the point is that this is nearer a race bike than anything that they've produced in this class before.
Yeah, in this class indeed, yeah.
So I win.
No, you don't. It's never going to happen. Up the inside. No,
I'll
he
sit
doesn't.
on you if you're not careful.
That's a worrying thought, I can tell you that. 23, Sam Bishop was there. Keep an eye on him. It's 5 yards, Sam. 23, battling away at the moment with 6, Leon Hunt. And Leon Hunt looking a bit menacing.
He's looking really aggressive, isn't he? But by the same token, the whole bike is stable. He looks great on the brakes. Just hope he can get past Sam in a fairly clean way. But at the moment, for an R6 Cup, this is remarkably uneventful.
Yeah, you're right. Matt Whitman has the fastest lap so far, done on lap 6. So Matt Whitman, quickest time, 51.5 as it is at the moment. Who is our? Oh, it's the Virgin Mobile Cup lap record round here is held by Tommy Hill, none other than 50.215.
He set that back in 2003, so pace and weather haven't been up there to contest with it so far. But with Leon Hunt last year, he wasn't really on the pace as much. So this year's obviously getting off to a better start for him. He's been pretty good throughout the qualifying. He looks very stable. That's number 6 we're all talking about, the rider on your screen right now. And Leon is a very composed lad. Harry, who looks after a lot of the races in the R6 Cup for Rob Mack, he was saying earlier on that he thinks Leon's got a very mature head on very young shoulders, and can go a lot further.
Leon Hunt, bike number 6, 17 years old, from Brighton, in 4th place, and harassing Sam Bishop, the Norwich man, 5 yard. He's a bricklayer as well.
Tap, tap, scrape, scrape. Well, Sam was looking a bit defensive going into Surtees then, so maybe he knows that Leon's just behind him.
I'm still laughing at tap, tap, scrape, scrape.
That's John McGuinnessism.
Of course, John McGuinness, the famous John McGuinness, was a bricklayer before he had a proper job before he came motorbike racing. Up the inside again, he took a look at it. He's a long way back, I think. Our camera foreshortens the distance.
Well, he needs a bit more than 5 yards, and he's getting past 5 yard Bishop there.
Yeah, but at least he's lasted a lot longer than he did at
Sanderson.
Oh,
good line there, though, up into Druids again.
It's true that camera always makes you, when they're head-on cameras, it always makes you look like they're going to make, I think it's wishful thinking quite often, but again, a little bit of backing it in.
But Leon's lines everywhere are much, much tighter than Sam's. Sam's riding exceptionally well, but Leon's lines are just a bit tighter here, a bit tighter there. He looks a bit more stable on the brakes. He's looking good.
Getting quicker at the front though. Tom Grant on bike 70 in 2nd place at the moment is the fastest man out on the track. Just put in a 51.09, so getting a bit closer to it.
So is Sean Murphy scrabbling away there. He's up to 7th at the moment, and we just went through our shot, and looks like he's composed himself after that really poor start.
Halewood Hill we're looking at the moment. 65, that is in David Payton, that is. David Payton, the 17-year-old from Edinburgh, or near Edinburgh. So 17-year-old again, spelt Patton.
New lad to the series this year, and again another one of these lads who's come in and tried to make the best of the R6 stuff in the pre-season, in the run-up to it, and doing pretty well, it has to be said.
Still it is though Matt Whitman that leads from Tom Grant. Sam Bishop still in 3rd place, and still number 6 Leon Hunt in 4th place at the moment. So there's your race leader. The one thing I do like about these new R6s is, do they sing or what? They have got such a lot of revs on board.
Yeah, not bad for a road bike.
Not bad for a road bike at all. You keep turning the handle, Mr. Carter.
You keep
up the outside,
monkey.
Up the outside. I tell you what, pushing and shoving there. Number 10, John Eastwood, being moved over.
you know, Whitman, he is looking like a class act, isn't he? Because back markers can be the unknown factor, obviously, as you're coming up to them. Certainly in this class, where perhaps experience isn't at the forefront. Well, it's designed that experience isn't at the forefront. So to carve through these in such a decisive and sort of fair way is fair play to Whitman.
Well, we started off with very murky conditions here. It was just raining as they went on there on a warm-up lap, but it's now dry all the way around, I can tell you. The wind is keeping this track pretty dry indeed. There's a dry line just about everywhere. In fact, it's definitely dry all the way around the racetrack. We can see it from our commentary position here now. The times are getting quicker, 50.6. That was Matt Whitman a little while ago on lap 9. Still Whitman out front, bike 51. Still Grant in second place on bike 70. Third is 23, Bishop. Fourth is 6, Hunt. And then is that our old mate Victor Cox that's slid into 5th place at the moment? I think it is. James Cox, in fact, Victor Cox. I thought he'd moved up to a different class. I think Victor Cox has gone up to Superstock. So James Cox from Bath it is, the 22-year-old on bike number 18 who's moved up into 6th place. Yeah,
James had a good 2005 season and qualified in 2nd on the grid, so really found his feet early on, but doesn't seem to have got away with the leaders too well, and down in 5th at the moment. He's some 2 seconds off the pace for that.
Although you've got to say the times that were set in qualifying, of course, were in the absolute wet. So the fastest lap in qualifying was 58.6. So that'll give you some idea of how wet it was out there. So these guys really, every lap is like a voyage of discovery. They just get quicker and quicker. And I'll tell you what, that was a bit classy coming into, you know, I don't know how you can compare these bikes with full race bikes. These are the bikes you go shopping on. The thing was sitting down then backing into Paddock Hill Bend. I mean, any respective World Supersports rider will think, oh dear me, got to sort that suspension out. They are good road bikes. That's as far as I'm going to go. Very good road bikes, very good tyres, and very good as a spectacle, as a one-make series. And you're right, it has given us some great youngsters that have come on through. You've only got to look at the National Superstocks class at the moment and some of the names that are through. You've only got to look. Don't forget, Tommy Hill, who came through into Superbikes, won a Superbike race last year at Cadwell Park. Tommy Hill was courtesy of Leon Haslam taking Gregorio Lavia for a grass tracking session, but apart from that, he won. He was the only one outside the top 3 to win a race. So, and he was one of these guys just a few years ago, just 3 years ago. So Tommy Hill superbly has shown us what the Virgin Mobile Cup can do for us. And I'll tell you what, welcome to all the Virgin Mobile Cup people. Of course, huge hospitality unit behind our commentary position here. And you've got to hand it to Rob Mack. He nails it together every year. And I think that the Yamahas this year as well, both the Virgin Mobile Cup ones in this series and the actual Fullworks Superbikes, look much better this year. They've got this kind of more white has been added to the bikes, and they look, oh dear me, one down, he's a big fella as well. Who's that? Is that Cox? It is James Cox, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So
and
James Cox, the 80.
Looks like it was in the middle of the track. Up at Druids.
Let's take another look at it. So Druids corner. Asking for the power. Oh, he was already off the thing. He was out on a wide line anyway, so whether he got tanked and get put on that wide line, I don't know, but let's just step over the high side for that one. I'll tell you what, it's a fairly uneventful race, though, considering it's the opening one of the year and the conditions here. It's been cold, and these guys, out of all the guys out on the racetrack, get less time, track time, during testing and qualifying than any other class.
Yeah, and they go out behind that lap car. It was quite amusing this morning watching them on the warm-ups. They only let them out in five rider batches. It was like they didn't want too much Ferrari going into that Paddock Hill Bend. But they're all doing really well, better than we thought they were before the start of this race.
Let me give you a bit of a suggestion here as well. I can see more rain on our commentary box window, which will mean that it's certainly on their visors. Now, so I think you can see the bike's just sitting a little bit as well, coming out of clearways there. Now it's slowly but surely, and these are the worst type of conditions where you don't really know where you are. Call it mental rain. It's on your visor, but if you slow down too quickly, you're going to get swamped by all the guys behind you. But then again, you can be pushing just a little bit too hard. And the guys out front, the guys on their own, really have no yardstick to work to apart from how these bikes feel. I know they are road tyres and they do clear a lot of water if you need to, but this track, you heard, Gregorio Lavia say earlier that the fact is the track feels more slippery today than it has done through practice and qualifying, and that'll be because of the temperature and because there is that light, not dusting, but light bit of precipitation all over the surface everywhere. White lines are a nightmare as well when it's like this. You just do not want to see one of these motorcycles running out to a white line because they will be spat off so quick. They won't be able to pronounce their name for a week.
It's unusual in that this has been the first race of the year. Leon Hunt really moves around that bike, doesn't he? Just watching him there to McLaren. He's all over that seat trying to find a way past Sam Bishop. But it's interesting that in this, the first race of the year, the riders seem to be a lot more measured. There's a lot more maturity going on. And we can say that after having seen them now for sort of 15, 16 laps, that you know, when they're out there, it looks like a more composed, more measured, more professional sort of outing for the first one of the year in dodgy conditions.
Have you ever been to one of Rob McElnay's briefings before these guys go out?
I've spent a lot of time with Rob Mack. Yeah. He waves the iron fist a bit, doesn't he?
I think he might bang his own poor thighs just to let them know that they mustn't mess up his motorcycle. So far, I think he's got away with it fairly well. There hasn't been anything like the carnage, I must say, before we came on air, that I might have expected from today. But all the time...
Well, the Rob Mack briefing's like a scene from King Kong, some big hairy ape running around, growling at everybody.
Sam Bishop under a lot of pressure, bike 23 from Leon Hunt. That's been going on throughout this race. They are in 3rd and 4th places at the moment, respectively, as they come on to clearways. Great corner clearways, you can just get that rear end spinning, especially when it hits this dip just here. It drops in a dip and makes the whole thing spin. It's been like that ever since my day, you know, Tony. Up the inside, number 6 then, finally makes it stick at Paddock Hill Bend. Through goes Leon Hunt into a podium position.
Back.
He's got to make it work though all the way up the hill, and I think, yeah, he's coming straight back at him. So Bishop, well, again, that was a slight mistake.
Someone in there really hot, runs a little bit wide, takes Leon out onto the wider line.
You can go right up the hill there, because it just, you know, if you're a little bit late, you can let it run up the hill a bit, let the brakes off a little bit later than you want to, and then drag it back down to the apex, especially on a road bike.
Leave the road bike thing alone.
Now closing in, 33, Graham Gowland. Graham Gowland, the 20-year-old from Allendale. Between Newcastle and Carlisle, this lad, and he's closed right in on this. So Gowland, he's been there for a while, but he's on top of these two now. And I have the feeling that these weather conditions are just going to make a variation in the pace for some of these riders. Some of them are going to be a little bit more tentative about sticking it in quite as hard. Gowland, he's not worried about it. Again, Leon Hunt just lacks the confidence, shall we say, to stick it up the inside at Paddock. He's done it once, but it's been the one and only time. Still it is 23, Sam Bishop in 3rd place.
Inside there, Keith. Leon Hunt right at the inside of Sam Bishop. Going to run wide again.
They swapped it, didn't they? That's exactly what happened, but only the other way round last time up there. But he's held on to it this time, so through has gone Hunt. Hunt this time makes it stick. We're at Graham Hill Bend.
Oh, Gowland at the inside of Sam Bishop. Looks like he had some better drive out there if he can get through.
Well, it wasn't
before
that. It wasn't anything to do with that. Sam Bishop ran wide.
Yeah. Still, so Graham Gowland did have better drive. If you're going to split hairs.
Through clearways, onto clearways, onto the Brabham Straight. Still leading, Matt Whitman. He's done it for so long now. He's 2 seconds in front of 2nd place man. That's number 70, Tom Grant. And then it is this battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th place. Hunt, Gowland and Bishop. Down in the dip. Leon Hunt on the Adams Charterhouse Sets Racing Yamaha. They are allowed a little bit of sponsor. Oh, and I tell you what, that was a bit of a bobble into the turn there, wasn't it? So 33, Graham Gowland. They're getting a bit racy at Druids, aren't they?
Well, like you said, Keith, they can do that up into there, can't they? The banking can work in, not in your favour, but if you make a bit of a mess of it going in, the track's more forgiving there.
Gowland up the inside there, nice move there up into Surtees and then on to McLaren. Great move if he can make that stay with him through Clark and on to clearways now. Great move, absolutely spot on. That was a classy move. The 33 Gowland will move up into the last podium slot at the moment. The boys at the front are way out front. And I can tell you how far. Whitman is in front of Grant by 2 seconds, and then Gowland is a further 10 seconds back. So this battle is a long way back. All getting tripped up though, down at Paddock Hill. Through has gone. Hunt on Bishop.
They're just coming up to Sean Williams, the back marker, number 73, Sean from Holyhead.
That's Bishop on Hunt. Oh dear me. One of them down again. Who's it going to be this time, I wonder? I kind of recognise those leathers, but it's the early part of the season and I don't trust myself to try and take a stab at it. Oh, look at this battle. I tell you what, this is a hell of a battle for 3rd place. One of these guys is going to be 3rd. Could be any one of the 4. We're on lap 22. Oh, into the mist of Brands Hatch we pass at Paddock Hill Bend now. And that was 99. It was Calvin Hogan that was down from the open. So Calvin Hogan,
who did do a BMW Cup race last year and has been out on much larger bikes than this in recent times, so not to be at Brands this day.
Whitman, 51, class, really classy. We've hardly seen anything of him. He's just cut through this field here. 51, Matthew Whitman. Wow, give us a bit of that then, Matt, just as I open my big mouth. out comes a big bit of wheel spin. So the Dunlop's working extremely hard, comes to the checkered flag. A superb ride from Matt Whitman. Second place will go to Tom Grant. Surely he's a long way back. Do you know what? I thought I heard Sand Trap. No, he's gone through. So he's gone through. He must have cut it right back and rolled round that last lap, I would think. And that's a great ride as well. Third place eventually going to the 17-year-old Leon Hunt. So he takes third place. It's Whitman, Grant and Hunt. They will be on top of the podium. An excellent result then for Matthew Whitman on the KMS Kingswood Group entered Yamaha. Tom Grant in second place. Leon Hunt, having seen off Graham Gowland and Sam Bishop, makes it through to third place. James Rose comes onto the leaderboard in sixth. PJ Toll in seventh. Robbie Brown is eighth. And in ninth place it was James Wedge from Midge Smart, Patrick McDougall, Scott Kelly, Sean Murphy, Simon Duvel and Sean Williams getting the last point in the championship, with David Payton down there in 16th